Picture this, it's my niece's birthday, and I, the self-proclaimed queen of baking, decide to whip up a batch of gourmet cupcakes. I had visions of grandeur, imagining the look of sheer delight on her face as she bit into one of my masterpieces. I'm talking triple chocolate, salted caramel, and maybe even some edible glitter for good measure. These weren't just any cupcakes. They were going to be the epitome of decadence, the kind you see on those fancy baking shows. Ambitious? Yes. Doomed from the start? Absolutely. You see, my enthusiasm often outpaces my actual skill set. But hey, how hard could it be, right? Just follow the recipe and everything will turn out fine. Or so I thought. You see, my baking skills are more nailed it than Great British Bake Off. I tend to overestimate my abilities, especially when it comes to anything involving an oven. But I was determined to make this work for my niece's sake. But fueled by a potent cocktail of love for my niece and an overinflated sense of my own abilities, I dove headfirst into the culinary abyss. I measured, I mixed, I even tried to channel my inner Mary Berry. Needless to say, the cupcakes were a disaster. The batter overflowed like a volcanic eruption, creating a sticky, gooey mess that was more suitable for a science experiment than a birthday party. We're talking volcanic eruptions of batter, rock-hard frosting, and a distinct lack of anything resembling edible. The frosting was so hard you could probably use it as a paperweight. And the taste? Let's just say it was an acquired one. The lesson? Sometimes even the most determined efforts need a healthy dose of reality and maybe a good baking class. So I signed up for one, determined to turn my baking disasters into triumphs. After all, every great baker starts somewhere, right? And who knows, maybe next year I'll finally be able to present my niece with the gourmet cupcakes she deserves. Until then, it's back to the mixing bowl for me. But hey, let's not throw the willpower baby out with the burnt cupcake batter. Willpower is like a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it gets. It's not about being perfect, but about showing up, trying, and giving it our best shot. Determination, that fiery spirit that pushes us to try, to strive, to conquer, is a powerful force. It's the inner superhero that drives us to keep going, even when the odds are stacked against us. It's what makes us get up after a fall and try again. It's the engine behind every human achievement, big or small. From the first steps of a toddler to the groundbreaking discoveries of scientists, determination is the common thread that weaves through all our successes. Think about it. Without determination, would we ever learn to ride a bike? That first wobble, the inevitable fall, and the courage to get back on and try again, it's all fueled by determination. Would athletes break world records? The countless hours of training, the pain, the sweat, the moments of doubt, all overcome by sheer determination. Would scientists find cures for diseases? The endless experiments, the failures, the moments of breakthrough, all driven by an unwavering determination to make a difference. Nope, nope, and nope. Determination is the fuel that propels us forward, even when the road gets bumpy, or in my case, covered in cupcake batter. It's what keeps us moving, even when every step feels like a struggle. It's that voice inside us that whispers, "You got this," when we're about to give up. It's the inner cheerleader that believes in us, even when we don't believe in ourselves. It's the grit that keeps us going when the going gets tough. It's the resilience that helps us bounce back from setbacks and keep pushing forward. And sometimes it's the sheer stubborn refusal to let a batch of disastrous cupcakes defeat us, though maybe that's just me. It's about finding the strength to try again, to learn from our mistakes, and to keep moving forward no matter what. So, embrace your inner superhero and let determination be your guide. However, even superheroes have their kryptonite, and for determination, that kryptonite is the seductive whisper of more. More effort, more time, more energy, even when it's clear that our best efforts just aren't enough. We often believe that if we just push a little harder, we'll break through the barriers holding us back. Take, for example, my ill-fated attempt to learn Mandarin Chinese. Inspired by a trip to Beijing and maybe one too many fortune cookies, I decided to become fluent. The allure of mastering such a complex language was irresistible. I'm talking ordering dim sum with the linguistic grace of a Beijing opera singer. I envisioned myself navigating the bustling streets of Beijing, conversing effortlessly with locals. Armed with language apps, textbooks, and enough determination to make Confucius proud, I dove in headfirst. I was convinced that sheer willpower and relentless practice would lead me to fluency. Flashcards took over my life. I had them in my car, on my nightstand, and even in the bathroom. Every spare moment was dedicated to memorizing new characters and phrases. I greeted my bewildered dog in Mandarin. Poor Fido had no idea what was happening, but he became my most patient listener. I even started dreaming in Chinese characters, which, let me tell you, is a very strange experience. My subconscious mind was as determined as my waking self. But despite my Herculean efforts, Mandarin remained as impenetrable as the Great Wall of China. The more I tried, the more elusive fluency seemed. My accent sounded like a sputtering car engine, and my attempts at conversation were met with polite but confused smiles. It was clear that my determination, while admirable, wasn't enough to overcome the complexities of the language. Frustration set in. I questioned my methods, my abilities, and even my sanity. Was I pushing too hard? Was my relentless pursuit of more actually hindering my progress? It was then that I realized the importance of balance. Sometimes more isn't always merrier. Sometimes taking a step back and allowing yourself to breathe can lead to greater progress. I began to enjoy the process more, celebrating small victories instead of fixating on the end goal. I found joy in the journey rather than frustration in the destination. I also discovered the value of community. Joining a group of fellow language learners provided support, encouragement, and a sense of camaraderie. We shared our struggles and celebrated our successes together. With a more balanced approach, my progress improved. I wasn't fluent, but I was learning in a way that was sustainable and enjoyable. The seductive whisper of more had lost its power over me. In the end, determination is a powerful tool, but it must be wielded wisely. Embrace the journey, find balance, and remember that sometimes less is more. Sometimes willpower alone isn't enough. Sometimes we need a reality check. We're bombarded with messages about the power of positive thinking, the importance of never giving up, and the belief that we can achieve anything we set our minds to. And while these are all lovely sentiments, they can also be a recipe for disaster if we're not careful. Don't get me wrong, a positive attitude is essential, but blind optimism without a healthy dose of realism is like trying to bake a cake with only sugar and rainbows. It might look pretty, but it won't get you very far. There's a fine line between determination and delusion, between healthy persistence and plain old stubbornness. And sometimes the most determined thing we can do is to know when to quit. It's about recognizing when we're banging our heads against a brick wall and having the wisdom to find a door instead. This doesn't mean giving up on our dreams. It means being smart about how we pursue them. Knowing when to quit is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It takes courage to admit that something isn't working, to let go of a cherished goal, and to redirect our energy towards something more fulfilling. Remember my Mandarin misadventures? After months of struggle, I finally accepted that fluency wasn't in the cards for me. Was it disappointing? Sure. But it also freed me up to pursue other interests like learning to play the ukulele, which I'm happy to report is going much better. Life is full of curveballs, and sometimes the most determined thing we can do is to roll with the punches and adapt. It's about having the flexibility to change course when needed, to adjust our sails to the winds of change, and to find new paths to our goals. Think of it like this: determination is the engine that drives us forward, but flexibility is the steering wheel that helps us navigate the twists and turns of life's journey. So, where does this leave us? Is determination good or bad? The answer, as with most things in life, is it depends. Determination, when tempered with realism, flexibility, and a good dose of self-awareness, is an unstoppable force for good. It allows us to overcome challenges, achieve our goals, and live lives filled with purpose and meaning. But determination without these things, well, That's how you end up with a kitchen full of burnt cupcakes and a Mandarin vocabulary limited to hello and thank you. Here's a secret. Determination isn't something you either have or don't have. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And one of the best ways to strengthen your determination muscle is to find something you're passionate about, something that lights your fire and makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning. When you're driven by a sense of purpose, determination flows naturally. You're no longer forcing yourself to do something difficult. You're drawn to it, pulled by an invisible force that makes the hard work feel effortless. So go ahead, embrace your inner Wonder Woman or Superman. Set those audacious goals. Dream big, but dream smart. Be determined, but be flexible. And most importantly, never ever underestimate the power of a good laugh, especially when those metaphorical cupcakes start to burn. After all, life is too short to be anything but determinedly, delightfully and deliciously you. Now go forth and conquer those life goals. And if you happen to bake any cupcakes along the way, please share the recipe after you've tested it out, of course.